Hello and welcome to World Talks with me, Ashim Kumar. Poland's exclusion from Starlink's European roaming zone has raised questions about equal treatment, technological dependence and digital sovereignty. SpaceX has offered no clear explanation, while Warsaw suspects the decision may have wider implications. To discuss the dispute, I'm joined by Professor Aleksandra Przegalińska. She's a Vice-Rector at Kozminski University and a Harvard University Fellow. Professor, welcome to TVP World. Thank you for taking time.
Hello, thank you so much for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. Now, the obvious question is, why has Poland been excluded from this roaming zone, in your opinion?
It's an interesting question, but unfortunately we have received no answers from, Starlink itself. So we can only speculate about it. And obviously one reason could be that there are some other countries, not only Poland, that have been recently excluded. I think Monaco is one of them. So it's a fairly random choice of countries that have been excluded for no real reason, but the other speculation is obviously related to the Ukraine, because Poland has bought and handed over to Ukraine several thousands of terminals, Starlink terminals, and pays for them as well. And also there is a secondary market of those terminals, of the devices in Ukraine itself, thanks to that. And some people do think, some experts think, and I think maybe even members of the Polish cabinet express that fear that this exclusion has something to do with the fact that Elon Musk is not particularly happy with the fact that his devices are used for the war between Russia and the Ukraine.
Okay, well, you mentioned the cabinet. We have a soundbite from Mr. Gawkowski, Polish Minister of Digital Affairs. I'd like to listen to that and then get your view on it, Professor.
Poland will respond firmly to SpaceX and Elon Musk, making it clear that we will not tolerate any private company, even if it's the world's largest corporation owned by the world's richest billionaire, imposing unequal rules on Poland and other countries. The rules regarding Poland's purchase of Starlink systems for Ukraine remain unchanged. The rules governing the use of Starlink systems in Poland remain unchanged. We simply demand that Poland, Polish citizens and Polish customers be treated equally. It's not normal for Poland and Polish users to be subjected to separate rules while other European countries continue to use Starlink as they have to this point. I don't understand this change, and I oppose it. I expect and demand that Elon Musk and SpaceX change these rules.
Okay, so he's saying pretty much what you just said. What's happened? Why is Poland being excluded? And he used the word second-class citizens. Clearly quite upset. But a question about the provision of these to Ukraine. I mean, Poland's been doing it. This has not been a secret. And it's been going on for years. Why would Elon Musk do it now? Why would he stop now or change the rules now?
Again, unclear, but what we can observe and what we have observed is his, I would say, changing and evolving position when it comes to the war in the Ukraine. Because as you may remember, at the beginning, he was extremely helpful. He has offered Starlinks to President Zelensky, to the Ukraine, as a support in this invasion by Russia. But currently, what we can see is quite often he's been refusing to allow strikes to be guided against targets in Russia by the use or with the use of his devices, with the use of Starlink. And he quite often has mentioned, he's also said and expressed, I think on Twitter, now X, multiple times that he believes in the peace agreement between Russia and the Ukraine, that Crimea should be in Russia's hands. So he has made some remarks about how we would like this conflict to end. To some extent, we have to say, in Russia's favor. And in that way, his evolving position is now something that we can, think about in the context of what has happened to Starlinks recently. The other thing is that he has had some feuds with the Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Radek Sikorski, a while ago, via X platform too. So I am not quite sure about his stand and position regarding Poland itself. And since it is his business and he does make decisions, unfortunately, this can be also the consequence. But by the way, I would also say that it is a problematic situation that there is a private company who decides about such an important geopolitical matter. This is something that we're observing right now.
Right. Well, absolutely. I'd like to come on to that in just a second. But this kind of unpredictability that Elon Musk is displaying, and also his tiff, I suppose you could call it that, with Foreign Minister Sikorski, leaves everybody kind of on edge. No one's ever quite sure what to do. Sounds very much like the kind of behaviour that President Trump sometimes displays. Is there a relationship? I mean, do you think President Trump is actually influencing Elon Musk in any way?
I, frankly speaking, do not think so. The administration, the current U.S. administration, perceives Poland to be a really great NATO ally. I have heard myself recently some podcasts with conservative pundits and also members of the cabinet, of Donald Trump's cabinet, and they have said that it's a model ally that spends so much money on its own security. And we've never seen such a position towards Poland displayed by President Trump himself. So I would say that it's a rather sovereign decision of Elon Musk in this particular case. But obviously, again, this is just a guess. We can speculate, of course. There are some things to be said maybe about our diplomatic efforts, because I just want to remind that 2 years ago or so, we have been excluded from the possibility of purchasing chips. But that was under Biden administration, also unclear why that happened. Other member states of the European Union were not excluded in that way. The majority of them did not have such problems and have not faced such obstacles. So, there are here and there situations where we perhaps do feel mistreated and we don't understand necessarily why. Since that time, actually, that ban on chips for Poland has been lifted by Trump administration. So I firmly believe that it has actually, in this particular case, nothing to do with President Trump, and a lot to do with this mercurial, like you said yourself, character of Elon Musk, who often changes his mind and then steers the company in the direction that he feels is the good one at this very moment and is likely to change tomorrow.
Understood. I'd like to move on now to what you touched on just a minute ago, and that was about outsourcing sensitive technologies to private organization. But surely, Professor, that is going to be inevitable. I mean, the government is not going to be able to invest in the R&D and the production of every piece of sensitive technology it needs. It has to outsource some of it. How do we get around this kind of danger of being held to ransom?
Well, I think this is a very important issue. And by the way, it's not only about Starlink. You have other companies that are providing various security and cybersecurity services, surveillance-related services, like, for instance, Palantir. But I would say that the government should have a say in that, and also a party that has purchased the equipment, the devices, the terminals, like Poland, should have an agreement that secures its possibility to use them in the way Poland feels they should be used. And obviously, there is always room for negotiations, but something like that should be provided. So I think in the future, we might see more of, these agreements as something that is particularly well scrutinized, and there is a due diligence of such agreements, because currently what we're seeing is that maybe if we don't have them, or if they're not detailed enough, what we face is a situation exactly like this one. And also notice in the case of artificial intelligence, the technology that I am researching, observing, we recently had a case where the Trump administration has decided to ban a particular type of AI because of cybersecurity threats. So there is a national interest, and the state says that it has something to say about how a technology is used, regardless of the fact that it's a technology provided by a private party. So, I think this is up for negotiations. We'll see how this case is going to evolve or unfold. I don't think Elon Musk will be easily persuaded, but maybe a diplomatic push towards the cabinet, towards towards Donald Trump and his administration is something that Poland should now focus on, and then maybe that will impact Elon Musk, at least to some extent.
Okay, well, one can only hope, but in the meantime, what does Poland do, Professor? Developing its own infrastructure is going to take time. What would the short-term solution be?
I honestly don't think there is an easy alternative to Starlink at this point, so negotiations have to take place. I think we should scrutinize the contract itself, and as I said, just use the diplomatic capacities we have and make some effort in that space, because recently, the case with the chips, our diplomatic efforts when the case unfolded have proven to be quite successful. So we regained our position and we cleared that situation. So hopefully we can do it again. But unfortunately, I don't have an easy answer to what could replace Starlink. I don't think there is an easy answer to that at this very point in time.
Understood. Professor Przegalińska, thank you very much indeed for sharing your analysis with our audience, and have a good evening.
Have a good evening as well. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away. Lots more coming up. Goodbye.